Why were they able, excuse me?
No.
I don't believe.
Is it public? No, that's on Hutchins.
It's not public, it gets down closer to Schwab. He's got a deep line that parallels the road on his private property.
And that section is private.
You know, I've knocked on
WashDOT
Hutchins'
put
door.
that in for Hutchison because WashDOT stored all of their stuff.
You know,
on
Hutchins is a great guy.
Yeah.
As you guys know, I spoke at the last meeting, and as I remember, Dan Balmelli shot me down when I said that I thought it was trying to go into the same pipe, and he said that this is not part of this project or involved in any way. I would love to get Hutchins' support, and I've asked him for it, and he hasn't said the word no, but his actions have not been towards that. As we all know, he's building his 48 homes here. Isn't that what it is? 48?
I'm not sure 48 is the final number. I know they've been making some adjustments, but yeah.
38-ish.
It's more than a dozen.
And with that pipe comes down and through, but he still has 5 acres here.
This is down by the Les Schwab, so that's this one. We're talking about the one up.
Well, let me finish, Dexter.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So all this
What I'm
goes
saying
through a
is-
private conveyance that cuts through his property, and then there's a common line that was installed out in front of that that goes on his private property to the crossing point. So there's a crossing on the corner of your property here for the shallow line, and then there's another crossing just down the road before you get to Les Schwab.
All the utilities are basically the same all the way up and down.
Correct.
But,
and I can't
but what I was saying was that I think Doug, if Doug can work with us after this development, I think he will. If I'm guessing, these are not his words, these are my thoughts, is that he's got to save this pipe for this so-called property that's yet to be developed. I mean, he's planning on developing this in 5 or 6 years, so getting his, I don't know that we're going to get his support without knowing what's coming in here.
If your group were able to provide some form of a downstream analysis that shows that this pipe is adequately sized to convey what he's already got a plan for, in addition to whatever you'd like to connect to it, that in my mind is.
Well, they should have a capacity analysis of that pipe already as part of the development.
I would suspect.
Do you guys have that storm report available?
I can check.
Okay.
As part of that.
That would be
Sure.
that would be the first thing. I mean, we can prove out whether or not it has capacity and what's left beyond that. So
And include the unknown 6 acres out front?
yeah, we just make an assumption for what's typical for commercial development, which is maybe 85%
The Les
impervious.
Schwab development, they
So,
had to have provided
What's in it
some
for him
form
to
of-
accommodate
What?
us? Not,
They had to have provided some form of.
I think that needs to be the question for these folks.
yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, but what I'm hearing is you're going, if you can make an agreement with, what's his name,
Doug
Hutchins,
Hutchins.
and if your group can do this and you can do that, speaking for myself, I don't know about these people, I didn't have a problem until the road was widened. It's not my problem. I didn't change a thing, the city and the state did. And I'm gonna pursue that to be fixed one way or the other. If I can cooperate and make it easy or let a pipe come across my property, I'm in. But if this is where you throw the ball back in my court or our court, then I'm wasting my time.
Well, then I appreciate that, and you haven't been involved from the get-go here, and we have been trying to be collaborative as much as we can. Now, Jeremy and I can't account for past actions here. I don't even know what they were.
Okay, let's bring it down a notch.
You
Okay?
too. The reality is I want to help be successful here with you too.
Okay,
I
I'm just
understand.
not hearing that.
I don't, okay, well, we're here, all right? Now, if you want to continue to kind of throw allegations out, something that I
allegation.
wasn't involved in, then that obviously is going to change our attitude a little bit too.
Yeah.
The reality is that we, and I've offered to the group, that we do anything that we can to help as far as permitting. If there's some analysis work that we need to do to help with that, the mayor has been supportive of that. So the reality is that yes, I don't even know you, and I apologize if there was something that occurred in the past. I really am, but I know where we're at now, and I want to try to move it forward so that we can all move forward. I know you guys have a lot of money invested in your properties, and I understand that completely. The idea is to try to find something that will work for everybody, and I think that's why you hired Contour and to try to help move that along as well, as far as in the best interest of you guys too.
To back up Mr. Sarodnik with maybe a little more humble tone, because we're all upset here.
I understand.
And we are coming to the
Mentioned that
table
before.
healed from that, trying to find resolution. And if I support Dave, it's the fact that we need your help to get Hutchins support. I've called him. You guys know what Stokes has done. I've called all these poor folks 27
Emailed, spent a
times.
ton of time.
And I've been banging on everybody's door. And I've been at your meeting trying to bring this up. You heard Barkhausen stand up and say it's not part of that project. You've heard that. So to support Dave, it's going to take the city's help to go to Hutchins and help us find it. We are investing by in time to be here, and now with his leadership to find any resolve we can.
Okay.
So let's try to put down that tone, because it's easy to get there because we're frustrated, and we didn't know these problems when this road was built, or we'd have been out there working with you then. And they didn't show up until later. And Dave's got a right here, man. That puddle was never there ever.
And during, to add to that, I was working originally with Jeanette when the improvements were going through, and there wasn't one question or any comments towards stormwater during the process. We had some sewer questions that we had to answer, and some driveway questions that we answered both for Jeff and Jeanette. So, but nothing ever was storm. So, my assumptions coming into this was that there was going to be storm available in the roadway, and that we could outfall to at a whatever flow control rate that we had to. But
Excuse me.
yeah, and then it wasn't till later that we found out that there's a bank of utilities that were right in the way. Just the way it was, and that the state designed their storm system to be completely separate from an upstream basin. And to me, I've run into this in Pierce County. I've run into it here, and it just it wasn't good planning on the part of the state. So, but now we got to figure out how to mitigate that mistake by the state.
Agreed.
Sorry for that.
No,
So,
no,
you know what? It's good for Dave to get off his chest, because we are frustrated, and it's going to take your guys' help to get this done. And allow me to apologize for feeling just the way Dave is, because I've kicked the cat over this too.
No, I'd be just as upset if my property had water sitting on it after an improvement happened and nobody's doing anything about it. So,
Well, I basically had unrentable property now for 4 or 5 years. And so when you start figuring that out by the month, I've got a big investment in a problem that's sitting there with, needs a solution.
Sure.
I didn't create the problem.
sure.
So I apologize
No, I
if
don't
I
have
came
any-
off as,
So what I can share right now is, we are moving forward trying to get a surface solution figured out along the frontage there, along your frontage, to help alleviate the water that's coming over the sidewalk from an immediate safety perspective. Trying to get a curtain drain installed in there. We've got survey scheduled, I think, for tomorrow to collect that data and move forward with the design for that piece of it, which will tie into that shallow drain that's within easements and along the frontage there. So that's what we're able to do quickly and within our property on the right of way.
So the curtain drain is just for sidewalk safety.
That's the immediate solution that we're able to move forward with as quickly.
There was Mr. Stokes had brought several pictures to council with regard to water that had been going over in slick areas. And it was decided to move forward with trying to get that captured so that we could alleviate some of that water into the storm system as
Hmm.
opposed to across the block and then into the ditch line and then into the storm system. So that's, we're trying to get that done ASAP, hence why we're trying to get some survey done.
As far as moving to the south with the Hutchins property and whatnot, we can certainly reach out to him and try to help with that connection point.
Well, let's
But-
talk about those options. Is Hutchins the only option? The other option, what, to bore underneath the road? You mentioned a lower pipe. Is that what you were
I mean,
thinking?
you know, honestly, yes. I mean, nobody wants to go and tear up that road. So in order to get a deeper pipe at the current crossing, a boring would be the most, I don't know if it would be the most cost effective, but it'd certainly be the least aesthetically intrusive option. We'd love to take advantage of a deep connection that exists, and right now, the only one that exists downstream of you is trying to work something out with the Hutchins.
Have you spoke to Hutchins about it?
I have not.
No, not yet.
Have you guys talked to the state
I've
about
attended
Often.
many.
and
Trying to get information from them. and it's-
on this
14.
particular topic, or are you just talking in general on all the issues that you have in the
All of the above.
Yeah.
So there's not only just that, there's other issues that, as far as the maintenance of the whole facility that they're required to do, those types of things.
Right.
Water management and all of that, as far as sprinklers and that kind of stuff, water and that stuff, so.
Mm-hmm.
What's on the other side of the street that we're trying to get to? Over, up by us?
There's an existing system that is in the Presley Village complex that takes that runoff and routes it through another
To the lake.
facility to the lake.
So can you point those out to us, where they're located? Because my property, there's a number of places that would be good to try to bore holes through.
Sure, I mean, this map that Schweikert had put together does reasonably clearly show the crossing location. So here's the shallow crossing, and here's the deeper crossing. So this is your property, Dexter.
There's something up in.
And so the conveyances then go into the parking area and down around the south side of the complex. And there's a stormwater facility buried somewhere in here with flow control release going out towards the lake.
I mean, just on the opposite side of the street, what are we trying to get to over here, into the parking lot somewhere?
Well, ideally, it's just trying to get into the structure that's immediately on the other side of the street, not going any further than that. Looking at the washed up as-built, there's a deep structure in the southbound lanes.
Across from CB90, right?
Yes.
CB90
That's the
crosses
corner
and
of
then
my
there's a
property.
drop. So has an outlet down low, but it comes in high. So it's avoiding all the infrastructure. They just avoided
Avoided
going deep.
on the high side, yeah.
Yeah.
How big is that?
We think it's 18.
Yeah.
The outlet is 18, not the crossing. The crossing's 12, isn't it? I'm trying.
It is hard to tell on here, honestly. I have to go back to the schedule to verify.
And it's only 4 feet deep. And the,
On
and the
this
one,
side.
yeah, at 90 and 91, it's 12 feet deep.
Correct.
And that, I just don't understand that. I mean, why did they shut us off like
Well,
that? I mean,
Well, we've got the sewer running through there, right?
which is 8 feet deep.
Said avoid it.
Which
Yeah,
is,
the sewer's on our side,
the
isn't it?
sewer's 8 feet.
Is the
8
sewer
feet.
on our side?
Yeah.
So they got
Well,
4
it
more
has to-
feet, you know.
It has to-
Yeah.
Why couldn't they go down to 12 feet and match it? I mean,
Yeah.
it was,
They could have.
yeah.
Dexter, where did the pipe go that was removed from your property?
It's still back there. It's still.
But I mean,
back
does it go across the street?
there. It had, yeah. From what I understand.
Why couldn't that be renewed if that was solved?
They probably dug it. I have no idea, but that was my understanding, is that it came down, and it went back behind the tire shop, and then it went through right where 90's at. I think it.
How, in my memory of that hole that they were digging was only 4 or 5 feet deep, 6 feet deep. Am I Do you remember poking your head down in that hole?
No, they had this great big thing that was about as big as this room. You know, the steel,
Right.
two big
That's
giant
right.
steel plates with those big pipes.
And
they were
10
sticking
feet
that.
deep. We don't know where
I
they're
have no idea. I was.
Oh, the trench box?
Yeah.
Is that
Trench
what,
box.
okay.
And I was too busy with the new
So,
store.
getting to what I heard, would just say there is there's a lower pipe in front of Dexter's, and then there's an angled pipe which brings it to more shallow place. Are you saying if we're going in to work on surface, can't we go there, dig down, see what the heck we got, and see if we can circumvent
Absolutely.
and get to that lower pipe?
You'd be looking at digging a 12 to 13 foot deep pit on the corner of Dexter's property and trying to run launch a boring rig there to find the manhole on the other side and drill it through. I mean, that'd be the way you
Oh,
go
you're
after
saying,
it.
oh, I was
Yeah.
misunderstood.
So, one idea, you know, to resolve this issue, besides, let's say if Hutchins didn't play a game, or go along with it, or we didn't have capacity or something, is like bore that size is very expensive, and I don't know if you can even find someone to do the contract right now. I mean, I just tried this
Oh, I
in
know that. Right
Pierce
now,
County.